I've recently learned that now there is more married. So in our finest of American traditions, Bryna and Tim have taken it to the extreme. We now have extreme marriage. Right. We knew this. So that's lesson number one. Lesson number two in the education that is my recent life is, well, I'm sorry, this is going to require a little bit of backstory. That won't be too long. The gentleman who introduced Bryna and Tim, and by the way, I may get some of the details of this story a little bit wrong, and I apologize if that's so, but I work in politics, so that's okay. I don't have to be entirely factual. The gist of the story will be generally, it will resemble the truth in some fashion. But anyway, his name is Steve Bass, correct?
Yep,
okay.
That's correct.
Okay, Steve Bass was the campaign manager in 1992 for a state assemblywoman named Sandy Galiff, whose campaign you worked on.
Yes.
You worked under Steve Bass.
I did.
The following year, this is when Bryna was in politics. By the way, this is the original political operative in our family. I simply took up the mantle and ran with it. This is my stage, actually. So.
Good luck with that.
Right. In 1993, a year later, Steve Bass was working on another campaign, Richard Brodsky's county executive race in Westchester County, which I guess he brought you on as well. And on that campaign is when she met Tim. I can't remember the circumstances, how you two were introduced, but I know it was Steve Bass's doing.
I don't remember.
We have a witness, indeed. So.
Don't go. It was a party. It was a party where a propane tank exploded. That's what I remember.
Things I didn't need to know, but that's good. No, fill in some details of the story. So, just as an aside, 20 years later, I'm working on a political campaign in 2010. My campaign manager suggested I need to staff up a little bit more, and he says, hey, I know a guy. He may be able to take some time off work. He's pretty good. He works on campaigns. His name is Steve Bass. I had no idea who this guy was, did not know the connection. We learned about it about 2 years afterwards. We became friends. We have lunch on a semi-regular basis. We laugh about it. It's like funny, that whole thing, ha ha ha. So, a couple of weeks ago, I'm having lunch with Steve Bass. And, you know, we're just talking about life and whatnot. And I say, yeah, I'm going to see Bryna actually in a couple of weeks. Yeah, they're renewing their vows. Yeah, I didn't know you could be more married either. But we're going to see her anyway. And then it sort of hit me at the time. I said, you know, Steve, this all happened very sudden, as I recall. Did it not? I think that what happened was they met on the campaign, and a couple of... So I asked him, what was the chronology of this? And he explained, by the way, this is an esteemed tradition. What you're supposed to do is get up here and say something quasi-affectionate but embarrass your sister. So this is, there's precedent for this. He explained that, you know, they met each other, they became friends, and then, you know, whatever. And then I guess a couple of months later, the engagement happened. Is this correct?
That's true.
Right, that's right. And so I was like, Steve, that seems awful sudden. And this is a woman who has Christmas of 2018 already planned. Okay, Bryna plans, like, very far ahead.
I'll be working there.
Yeah.
Hello.
Right. So he said, dude, well, I say dude, he didn't say dude. He said, look, you were on a campaign. Now, this may not make sense to some of you here. Why that explained everything to me. Because many of you have not done political campaigns. And by the way, actually, let me just digress. I'm going to talk to these people for a second. If you ever have the opportunity to work on a political campaign, please do so. It is such a unique experience, just once in your life. You know, I don't even care which party you work for. If you just put it on your bucket list. That's a lie. I actually do care which party you do it for. but just don't tell me. So he said, look, they worked on a political campaign together. And the reason this makes sense is when you're on a campaign, it's 7 days a week. It's 10 to 14 hours a day. You are going through such intense and dramatic encounters and experiences throughout a course of about 3 or 4 months. So you know how you have like dog years, for instance. If you live 1 year, the dogs live 7 years. There's campaign time as well. So that, to the effect that if you're on a campaign for 4 months, you actually known each other for 2 years. So that actually relieved me. Because up until a couple weeks ago, between us, I wasn't really sure this whole marriage thing was going to work out. But now we're good. So and now I understand. So eventually, this sort of meandering story will conclude in a toast. So why don't we do that now?
This is your turn.
That's right. That's my turn. Here is to extreme marriage, to supersize the relationship, to turn it up to 11. Here is to more Bryna and Tim.